Want to cooperate? Here we are. Okay, we're live. Okay, I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Board of Selectmen, December 1st, 2015. Before I start the meeting, I just want to remind people, especially people out there listening, Thursday, December 3rd is going to be the airplane noise meeting with Massport, the FAA, and both of our U.S. congressmen, Congressman Lynch and Capuano, as well as our state senator and congressman, our representative, are going to be there. So I believe it starts at 7 o'clock, and it's at the high school auditorium. So anybody that can make it is certainly welcome to come, and actually urged to go if you are concerned about airplane noise. It's our one chance to have FAA listen to us for a little while. So hopefully a lot of people will come. So that being said, first order of business is review of the minutes. We have November 3rd, November 9th minutes.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes from November 3rd and November 9th, 2015 as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Confirmation of future meeting dates. We have December 8th and December 15th.
Fine with me.
Okay with me too. Okay. Approval of payroll and vendor warrants.
Make a motion to approve the current payroll and vendor warrants.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Item 5 is citizen speak. So it's, I guess we do have a bunch of people from the school, the teachers union is represented here. So if you'd like to come first, because I understand there's one person that's going to address and for everybody. So, and we do have a sign-in sheet just to.
Thank you for allowing us to go first, and I am the only speaker for the teachers, so you made a wise decision. My name is Margaret Gibbons, and I'm a Milton resident for over 40 years, and the proud president of the Milton Educators Association. I serve as director of nurses for the Milton Public Schools and has worked for the Milton Public Schools for over 31 years. I am here this evening to address the issue of health insurance. I speak on behalf of 400 Milton educators, many of whom are Milton residents, and many of whom are here this evening. And I stand in unity with the other Milton Town employee unions. Before you vote on whether to adopt Section 21 and 22 of Mass General Laws, Chapter 32B, and I was pleased to learn this morning from Michael Blanchard that there was an error in my letter regarding Section 23. I emphasize and I urge you to consider the impact that such a vote would have on the Milton Public Schools. First, health insurance is the most important benefit provided to the Milton teachers. A major reason Milton Public Schools attracts and retains the highest quality of teachers is because it offers affordable and quality health insurance to its employees. Please ask Mary Gormley the first question asked by a potential new hire, what the question is, and she will tell you, what's the status of your health insurance? If you choose to erode this benefit, you will jeopardize the school district's ability to attract and retain the best and the brightest. As we strive to maintain a thriving school district for our students in this community, we urge you to maintain the very benefit that keeps quality teachers in our school system. Second, you need not invoke Section 21 in order to discuss creative winning solutions with town employees. In recent years, the Milton teachers and all the town unions have worked collaboratively with the town administrator to implement changes to the health insurance plans that have saved the town significant sums of money. Significant sums of money. We have entered these discussions and reached agreement without the legal tactics and maneuvering. We urge you not to abandon this type of collaborative relationship with the Milton employees and instead engage with us through appropriate representatives. If you adopt Section 21, you send a message to the Milton teachers and other town employees that you do not appreciate the concessions we have agreed to in recent years, and that you reject collaborative problem-solving approaches to the issue of health insurance. In closing, I urge you on behalf of the Milton teachers not to adopt Section 21 because eroding the important benefit of health insurance will hurt our schools' ability to attract and retain quality educators, and because we can discuss mutually acceptable winning solutions collaboratively without resort to the new law's rigid parameters. Thank you for this consideration on this important issue. Those of us in attendance will give up our seats and our space and our additional opportunity for comments to support the many residents who have come to support the police chief. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else would like to address the board?
Thanks for coming. Thanks. Thanks.
Speak on the same subject. Okay.
No, yes.
Thanks.
I'll be happy to wait.
Excuse me, sorry.
I'll say it. Hi, I'd like to just, my name is Bill Murphy. I'm the president of the Milton Firefighters Local. I'd just like to second Margaret's motion that we don't adopt this. We negotiated previously, and it worked out well for both the town and the employees. I think we should push this vote off and meet as the way we did the last time, and we can solve this problem. It's not, but I think that's the proper way to negotiate without enacting this, the Massachusetts general law. That's all.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Anybody else who would like to address the board? Yes, sir.
Better sign in, huh?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Joe.
Good evening. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Joe Mullins, and I live in Highland Street, 300 Highland Street. I've lived there for 37 years. Happily for 36, and the last one hasn't been much fun. But I'd like to read a petition that's been prepared by myself and neighbors. So if I could, let me just read it to you, okay? Can you hear me okay?
Sure.
We, the neighbors and abutters of the Meg Lane 40B development proposal on Randolph Avenue, are submitting this petition to the Milton Board of Selectmen to emphatically support the decision of the Milton Zoning Board of Appeal on July 30, 2015. The ZBA on that date issued a comprehensive permit for 35 units to be permitted on the Meg Lane land. The developer has appealed this decision to the Housing Appeals Committee of GHCD. They have asserted that the ZBA decision is a denial of their proposal. It's essential that the Milton Board of Selectmen vigorously support the decision by the Milton ZBA. There is an upcoming mediation session that we collectively need the best participants representing the town. Kathleen O'Donnell, your attorney representative at the ZBA meetings, has not been involved in the defense of the ZBA decision. Despite assurances that she would be involved in the legal defense of the case, she has not been consulted. Kathleen attended every ZBA public hearing and meeting. She drafted the conditions attached to Mr. Leonard's excellent comprehensive permit decision. She has vast experience and knowledge of the 40B program. She has written smart growth regulations for the Department of Housing and Community Development and has experience in the 40B program history and decisions previously made. We urge you to direct Town Council to fully engage Kathleen O'Donnell in the defense of the Milton ZBA decision and to have her participate and testify at the upcoming mediation session at Milton Town Hall on December 9, this month. I just conclude by saying that I've been very involved in this and at the ZBA and at the Conservation Commission. And I've seen, you've been involved, Katie. And Kathleen has been at every meeting. She's made notes. She's made herself available. She was told not to come to the HAC meeting for whatever reason I can't understand. And she was unaware as of this weekend that there was a mediation session upcoming. We're not well represented, and we're all on the same team at this point. We may have had different opinions, but we're all here to support the ZBA's decision. So I would urge you to direct Town Council to make sure she's front and center. She's more qualified than anybody to represent the ZBA. I talked to Mr. Leonard over, yesterday, and he is not or cannot and maybe isn't appropriate for him to testify at the mediation session because he's an effective judge. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I just hope you'll go forward and direct him because he works for you. I've heard it said, this is hearsay, I've heard it said that Kathleen works for the Board of Selectmen and that he works for the ZBA. That's, to me, a distinction with no difference because they work for you. You hire the town council. You can direct him. Okay? That's pretty much all my comments.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else?
Place is happening tonight. Sign in.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Judy.
The answer is always do what is right for the town and always act in the best interest of the town. Good evening. My name is Judy White Orlando, and I reside at 41 Deerfield Drive. My family, my siblings, and my children all reside here in Milton. My family, and especially my parents, have a simple motto: always do what's right for our town of Milton. I believe having Chief Wells remain as Chief of Police, Chief of Public Safety, and Chief of Police for Traffic Commission is right for the town of Milton and acting in the best interest of our town. I, too, first met Chief Wells during the 350th celebration of Milton. Behind the scenes at the evening fireworks, Chief Wells was running the show quietly and calmly and showing great leadership. I was part of the volunteer crew that cooked hamburgers and hot dogs for the entire weekend. During the parade, I was a driver for the committee chairs. Like Brian Kelly said last week, Chief Wells helped coordinate the parade route. He even sent over water on that 90-degree day to the parade viewing stand for all the coordinators. We were thirsty. There was never any doubt that his work and leadership behind the 350th was present and made us feel that the event was well organized and went off smoothly. After the event, Chief Wells purchased all of the leftover food and water for the annual night out for the police sponsor every year for the town. Last year, they had 2,500 people. Imagine 2,500 people come to the police station for a great community event. During our block parties, an officer always comes and gives out police medals and will show the kids how the sirens and the lights work. What a thrill it is for our children. When I was a teenager and saw the police coming, I knew I had gotten caught or was in trouble. But today, children, teenagers, and parents see the police in Milton, and you know they're there to help or to say hello. The Milton Police Force is part of our community. They have developed relationships with all of us so we can work together to keep our town safe and welcoming to all. It's a special community when the police are such an important, kind, and helpful part of our town. Teenagers and parents will confide in our officers. What a difference this makes. All of this community outreach is part of Chief Wells' leadership, and I believe he is and he's such an asset to the town of Milton. My last point is that Chief Wells gives back to the community, not only to our community, but to our state. He serves on the Milton Traffic Commission, not an easy job these days. He's also a member of the Southeast Homeland Security Council, Metropolitan Law Enforcement Council, and the State Executive Committee for Regional Communication. He's a leader on school safety, and he shares experience and knowledge with other towns. In closing, my parents always lived by the motto for our town: do what's right for Milton. Always act in the best interest for our town. Tonight, I ask you, Katie Conlon, our selectman, who is our legal guide. I ask Tom Hurley, our selectman, who is our financial wizard. And I ask you, David Burns, who represents our families and our future, to act in the best interest of our town and keep Chief Wells as our police chief. Thank you for your many hours of volunteering and for listening to me tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Michael?
How are we doing?
Good.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
I'd also like to take a minute to thank you guys for your time and your service as well. I know what you do is not easy, so thank you very much. And I know many hours are spent doing what you do. I'd also like to comment on Chief Wells as well. So my name is Michael Mignosa. I've lived in Milton, and my family owns and operates the Fruit Center Marketplace. I'm here to speak in support of Chief Wells. As a lifelong resident and business owner, I have nothing but respect and admiration for Chief Wells. As a business owner, I found Chief Wells to be responsive and proactive whenever we have a problem or concern. He is accessible and easy to work with. He and his officers are nothing but helpful and respectful to our staff and customers on the occasions they're in our store. As a resident and parent, I appreciate Chief Wells' high visibility in the community. We see him at football games, ball fields, and every community event. Nobody could question his dedication and concern for our town. He is an interactive member of our community. Every kid in town knows who he is because he's out amongst the residents each and every day. He participates in the most mundane of events at my child's school, things that parents won't even attend. Chief Wells is there. He reads at Community Read Day, arranges speakers at Veterans Day events, and visits the classroom with the SWAT team. And that's just at our school. I'm sure he does the same at other schools as well. He's teaching a generation of students that the police are our friends and allies. In light of the challenges we face in Milton, I can't imagine why we would want to replace someone with his experience, qualifications, and commitment to our town. I believe that Chief Wells is a big part of what makes Milton a great place to live, raise our children, and run a business. I strongly urge you to find a resolution that will keep Chief Wells in his position as our police chief for as long as he wishes to remain there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Michael.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
evening.
you. Good evening. My name is Liz Maycumber, and I too am here in support of Chief Wells. I've lived in Milton for over 28 years, and I've raised my family here. I have 3 children that have all attended Milton Public Schools, and I'm here to tell you that Chief Wells is one of the reasons why I had a son that was drug addicted, and he was one of the reasons why my son has been in recovery for almost 5 years. The Milton Police Department with Chief Wells and his staff made a huge difference in my life and my son's life, and I think that he should be recognized for that because I think he's trying to combat a large problem in the community, and he's doing a fabulous job. I think he really tries to look at solutions that are outside of the box for a big problem that we're all facing in every community. So I urge you to keep Chief Wells in his job and let him continue the good work that he has done.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Could you sign? Yeah, thank you. They're not writing name and address?
All right, you good?
Sweet. Hi, my name is Alex O'Brien. Been living in Milton for 15 years. Chief Walsh is a very good friend of mine, and also to me, his family. Like everyone that came before me to speak, he really, truly an amazing chief, and to me, like, he's everything. He helps the town a lot in so many ways. He's like really a family. He does everything for everybody at any time. And to me, please consider having Chief Walsh here in Milton, because he's just unbelievable chief, and police station, Milton Police is just very inspiring in so many ways at what they do, and they put their lives on the line, and like Chief Walsh is, you know how we do the fundraisers, like we have the barbecues each summer. I look forward to it. Like everyone said, like he's always there and greeting you and always helping out. To me, he helped me out on the day when we had the 350, the parade. He let me be in the parade. That was awesome. It was an unbelievable experience. I asked him if I can be part of history, because Milton is really a historical town, and I'm so blessed to be living in such an amazing town like Milton. And I just want to ask you, please, keep Chief Walsh in Milton where he belongs, and Milton Police. He's just, to me, an inspiring person. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should have got 600 getting out.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You are inspiring.
Thank you.
Hi, Brendan.
How you doing?
Brendan, how are you?
Good, thanks. Hi. So my name is, like most of you know me, Brendan McLaughlin. I live at 3 Herrick Drive. I'm very happy for the opportunity to speak tonight. I was watching Citizens Speak last week, and I saw some of the people speaking on behalf of Chief Wells, and I just wanted to come out just to add my voice to that. And I'll keep this very brief. I just wanted to speak to some of what I've observed personally, and it's interesting to hear different people come up and talk about different things that Chief Wells has done, because I wasn't aware of all of them. But my hope is that this issue can be resolved, and it can be resolved quickly and very positively for the town. I had the honor of serving on the warrant committee in the town of Milton, and also as a library trustee. I no longer am in either one of those positions, so I'm purely speaking on my own behalf and not on behalf of anything else. But just to briefly talk about what I observed when I was on the warrant committee, I saw Chief Wells as an extremely professional person who came very well prepared, was a very strong advocate for the public safety needs of the town and for his force, and was able to work, I think, very collaboratively and well with the warrant committee in terms of helping us to understand what was needed as we worked to pull the budget together for the town. And I mean, as I was doing that, I was working with Katie and I was working with Tom, so I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. As a library trustee, I saw a different aspect. Saw Chief Wells working in terms of public safety, the safety of the library patrons. Whenever there was any kind of a safety issue or concern, I found Chief Wells and the police force to be incredibly responsive and, as I said, very professional. In addition, we worked with them very closely on changing the entrance and the exit to the library and getting advice from a traffic safety perspective. There were a large number of accidents right in front of the library. One of Chief Wells' recommendations was, you guys have it all wrong here. You need to swap the entrance and the exit. That's the normal way things would flow. We did that, and I believe the results have been extremely positive. That's just one of the small areas where he helped us to help things safer for the patrons of the library. Finally, just as a private citizen, we had a situation a few years ago, there was a spike in break-ins in our neighborhood. Once again, Chief Wells responded personally to our neighborhood, to work with the neighbors, to help understand what was going on, to what we could do to prevent these kinds of break-ins, and to work and keep us informed as to what was being done to try to apprehend the people that were suspected of doing this. Again, that worked out very positively for everybody, and that issue is no longer an issue. So in all of my interactions with Chief Wells, I always found him to be very concerned and someone who cares very much for the town and what's best for the town. So I'm just here to ask each of you if you could work with each other and to work with Chief Wells to hopefully resolve this rapidly and positively for everybody. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandon. Would anybody else like to address the board? Hi, Tony.
How are you?
Tony?
Tony, how are you?
Thank you very much. My name's Tony Cicchello. I live on 55 Houston Avenue, and I'm a town meeting member from Precinct 4. I'm a relative newcomer in town. I've only been here 20 years. I mean, most of the people here, I'm told that makes me a newbie still. But I think overall, my reaction here is you usually have to die to get the kind of commentary about people that you've heard here about the chief. So I just want to talk briefly. I'm not one for just talking to say the same thing everybody else has said, but one of the interesting things is that the conclusion seems to be the same with many people, but there are different perspectives. As Brendan has said, I don't think I've spoken at Citizen Speak before. But I thought that this was something important to talk about, in part because of the importance of the position of Chief of Police, which I know you all know. But also thinking about some of the characteristics of the kind of leader that we need in that position. You know, Milton is a town we all know and love, and we think it's the greatest town in the world. But when we look hard, we know that Milton, like every other town, has a whole lot of challenges. We live right on the edge of an urban area, and we have all sorts of problems and challenges that come with that. And we also have all of the problems and challenges that come with every town and city in the country. We have crime, we have drug issues, we have all sorts of other things. And having a leader to help address those issues is primary. I mean, the one non-negotiable, or maybe there's two non-negotiables that the town has to do: keep its people safe and educate its children. And one of the things that I think, in my experience, I've seen is that leadership from the top really can set the tone in terms of how the police in a town are perceived. And Chief Wells is somebody I didn't know at all before he became chief. And fortunately, I don't have a lot of interaction with the police in town. But over the years, I have had some interactions, and I've been very impressed with the chief, and often with not only the strength that he has portrayed to people, but also his touch and his deft way of handling situations. And one situation, for example, whether it's as a town meeting member or somebody I know, I had somebody come to me and talk about a situation in which he had an interaction with the police and thought it was racial profiling. And as he described it to me, I was concerned. And so I went to the chief and talked to him about it. And we sat down and we had a discussion about my concerns about how this was perceived. And he talked about some of the facts about this is what we were reacting to and dealing with. And he immediately wanted to meet with that individual and talk to that individual and make the situation right, not only from what they were doing perspective, but the citizen who felt like he'd been treated poorly. And in my experience, the chief is proactive in dealing with those kinds of things. So I don't know a whole lot about the underlying facts and circumstances that got us to where we are now. But It seems to me that there should be a way to sort through the issues that are out there and get to an end game. I know that you folks spend hundreds, if not thousands of hours doing the things that you do, and I've talked to some of you about some of the challenges that are on your plate now in terms of transition. You're going to have a new town administrator. The whole town administrator position is in the process of changing. You're going to have a new assistant town administrator. There are, and that's in addition to all of the other issues that, one way or the other in town, all come through the Board of Selectmen. It seems to me that among the many, many challenges you have on your plate, we don't need to add another challenge where if it ain't broke, maybe we shouldn't fix it. It may be that I'm oversimplifying this, but I read in the paper, it's not about the money to the chief, and it's not about performance to the Board of Selectmen. I don't know why I'm here. My sense is that there is a solution here to be found that can have the chief work for the town for an additional period of time that makes sense for the town, for the chief, for the Board of Selectmen. And I just encourage you to kind of buckle down and try to see if we can make the right thing happen. So I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. How you doing? My name is Ross Maycumber. It was good to hear everyone speak. I'm here on the behalf of Chief Wells. I actually think Chief Wells is a excellent guy on the job and off the job. I like Chief Wells because he's personable. You talk to him. He treats everyone with the utmost respect. He's a gentleman. And I think he deals with situations that come to arise in the town. Very quickly. He's there. You know what I mean? Something goes on, he's there, he's speaking, he holds a very calm manner. I'm definitely for keeping Chief Wells, and like I said, that he treats people like the way that, they would treat others, I'm a blue-collar union plumber. He treats me just like anyone else, and a lot of Milton is the working class, and as for speaking for me and, for the working class, I think that most people would, want Chief Wells to stay in and come to some sort of resolution for him to be able to get things worked out. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to entertain about 10 minutes more, and we really do have to get on with the meeting, but if anybody else would like to address? Nobody? Okay.
There are some people out in the hall. We're just,
Oh, this is a quick one. Thank you so much for your time tonight to listen to us,
Thank you.
and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Alex.
Get on with the meeting. Okay, item 6 on the agenda is the approval and adoption of Mass General Law 32B, Sections 21 and 22. We do have a motion in front of us. Does somebody would like to make the motion, and we can discuss it?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll make a motion to adopt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21 and 22
I'll second the motion for discussion.
for discussion.
Seconded. So basically, what 21 and 22, there's 3 sections that kind of go together that were part of the Reform Act put in place, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, to give cities and towns the ability to deal with the insurance problem, and a few other things to, basically, back in that last recession, just to help communities get through. So you have to adopt 21 in order to do 22 or 23. 22 just allows us to make plan design changes. And there is a process there, though. There's still a
Do you want to talk
negotiation.
about the process? It might be helpful if you
Yeah,
go through the
Yeah.
I'd go
process.
through the
Yeah.
process.
So, Michael, do you want to go through the process more so than, because I've read it, but I'm not an expert certainly in the process at this point. I know there is a negotiation part, but,
Sure, I mean, so just very simply, as you said, what this does is allow the town to propose some changes outside of the traditional bargaining process with associations. And basically, prior to implementing any changes, the town, evaluates what changes proposing, demonstrates the savings that will be realized over certain time periods, and then works with the town's insurance advisory committee on those changes.
Yep.
Ultimately, the town does have an opportunity to work with the associations, but ultimately the town can, once they follow that process, make those changes.
Right.
Again, as long as it demonstrates the savings that are appropriate.
Yep. Now, adopting 21 and 22, and again, 22 just talks to plan design changes. It doesn't talk to putting anybody in GIC, the Group Insurance Commission,
Correct.
which 23 would automatically do if we adopted it. So we're not contemplating adopting 23, just 22, which is, plan design changes, co-pays, and those kinds of things that we could take a look at. And it would be outside the collective bargaining. But would 22 preclude us from, well, I guess let's say right now, we have no current plans to make any design changes. We just want the ability to be able to do it. Or be able to review it and things make sense to have that ability without being locked into collective bargaining agreements. But by adopting 22, it doesn't mean that we still couldn't, outside of 22, negotiate with the collective bargain or the unions to try and come to a conclusion without going through the 22 process. Is that a
Correct.
true statement?
Yes.
So we could still do whatever they were saying that we wouldn't be able to do any longer.
Yeah, that was my understanding from the prior discussion as well. And there is going to be, I don't know if you touched on this, Michael, there is a study, I'm just looking at it.
Yes.
We have to look at the cost savings that we realize within 12 months after implementing
Right,
this.
that's
So
right. And
that would be a
certain percent
part
of the cost
of
savings
the
goes back.
process that would take place.
Right, and that cost, that 1 year cost savings goes, at least part of it goes back to the,
It could, depending on the parameters.
yes.
But you're absolutely right. There's nothing that precludes the town from continuing with the traditional process just because you adopt these sections. This does give you more opportunities outside what you currently have, but it does not preclude you from the traditional, negotiating process.
Yeah, yeah. And just getting the support of the majority of the unions if we wanted to go that traditional route.
Yeah, my feeling on this, and I've struggled with this for a while, having a family full of educators and public safety members, and also being a former union employee myself and understanding, where they sit on this. I just, I don't know that I can fully go along with this because I really feel, having kids in the school system as well, the appeal to the recruitment of high-class teachers, top-quality teachers, I don't know that we're sending the best message on that. I really don't. And I know that we do have some flexibility, but I just think that we run a real risk, in my opinion.
Well, I guess my biggest concern is, and clearly, the pendulum swung an awful long way in the other direction. I mean, there was a time when all the power sat with the city or town and municipality, and wages were extremely low, and we gave everything away in benefits. It's not the salary, it's the benefits that, well, all of a sudden, over the years, well, the salaries come up, the benefits far exceed anything that anybody could get in private service.
They do, I understand, but I also think that it is quite attractive to retain and to recruit and retain.
It is, and I guess if I were looking at it, I would want to see what other municipalities have. So, yeah, and clearly, you do want to attract the best talent.
Right.
You know, and that's why, that's why you have to pay a good wage, and you have to have, benefits and everything else, but.
Right.
But that being said, I think there are ways to look at what our peer towns have and make sure that we're at least consistent with that. And we don't have to necessarily be above that. And we do have more constituents than just the municipal employees. And we have those people that we also represent. And those people, and we hear from a town meeting all the time, look at their pocketbooks and look at the fact they didn't get a raise last year. Look at the fact they don't get 80% of their health insurance paid for. They're lucky if they get 50% of it paid for. Some don't get any of it paid for. And, so I think we have to balance both of those off.
I agree with Tom, and, both of us spent a lot of years on the warrant committee, and the budget is always a challenge every year, and we're looking at a contingent and a non-contingent budget. The non-contingent budget would be a difficult budget. I'm viewing this as the first step in a process. There'd have to be a study of costs, there'd be some discussions.
And it would have to make sense.
With the unions, and we'd have to exactly see if it would make sense.
I just would want to be very careful. I'd want to make sure that we're very cautious, approaching this. And if we did get to this point, that there was the flexibility to still have that collaborative approach in negotiating. And I think that's one of the things that I want to be careful about.
I just want to understand where you're at, David. Do you want more time to defer this to a subsequent meeting, to give this a little more thought, or to maybe do a little more work in terms of looking at what other communities are doing?
I'd like to see what other communities are doing, just to make sure that, that we're still on the right page and that we're going to be doing the right thing long term.
I can tell you that the last plan design change we made was back 5 years ago, I believe, approximately 5 years ago. And that was, we had tried several times before that, and that was before the passage of this law. The only reason we got some of those changes made was because this law was in place at the time. That's what really motivated everybody to come back to the table and do something positive. And it was a very good agreement. And it got the support of, the unions and certainly the support of the selectmen. But the catalyst really was that.
Yeah, I listened to Margaret and Bill Murphy and their comments, and I understand where they're coming from, and they're representing large numbers of people, and we all know some of the firefighters and the teachers.
Absolutely.
And I understand their point of view. I think for us, in terms of our fiduciary duty to the town and to the residents and the taxpayers, and to consider the interests of the employees, it's probably the right thing to do to move forward and at least begin this process. From what I'm hearing and what I understood from Labor Council, it doesn't preclude what Margaret discussed as, I think she said, a collaborative problem-solving approach, which is always
preferable.
That's what I'm in favor of. I don't want to lose that
Yes, I hear that's what you're saying.
That's where I'm very concerned, that I just want to ensure that if we did move forward on this, that we did leave those lines of communication open to be able to collaborate and still have the opportunity to find a middle ground.
I think it does, to be honest, but.
I think it does. That's my understanding of it. If you're, if there's a sentiment to defer this to a future agenda, I'm not opposed to that. Although I'm willing to vote. I expected to vote on it tonight. I'm willing to vote on it tonight. But if we want to defer, we have 2 more meetings in December.
No, I'm willing to vote on it, but I'm going to really be careful on this, and I really want to ensure that, that the teachers and the other public safety members and other, union members in the town, are represented, because, I do know we have a fiduciary responsibility to all the taxpayers in the town, but at the same point in time, we have employees that we need to retain, okay, and we need to attract at times. and I want to ensure that we have the best and the brightest in all those positions.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
David.
I do too.
Procedure, I know you had to give the unions a notice that we were going to be
Which we did.
discussing this tonight, which you did. If there was sentiment to defer it to a future meeting, would we need to renotice that to the union? I mean, we've given them a chance to come in tonight and present their
I don't know the answer to that
comments.
question.
Do you know, Michael?
I can talk with Labor Council. My understanding is our notice was not actually required under the statute. It was more, good faith, letting you know it's going to be discussed.
Okay.
The notice requirement is if you were actually to vote
That's right.
changes.
That's right.
Right.
You're
That sounds
voting
right.
tonight
Just to-
potentially to accept the sections. You're not voting
Not
to make
voting to
any
make changes.
help
That's right.
plan
Yeah,
design
that's
changes.
right.
Yeah, you're right, yeah, so.
And this is simply for discussion anyway, so yeah, I'm, willing to go along as long as, we're not going to be making any changes, but just to open a process.
I
Right,
think,
and
I think
clearly,
we're
if you
required to
look-
do the study first.
Yeah, you are, and show the cost savings and everything else, but then the selectmen will all have to agree
Sure.
that it's something we want to do as well. I mean, it clearly isn't saying that another board of selectmen might not act a different way, but another board of selectmen could do the same process and adopt this as well.
Sure.
So. But I'm perfectly happy to defer to another meeting if you want, but.
No, that's fine, I mean, it sounds like we're gonna get to that same resolution anyway, so we might as well move
Yeah,
forward.
I think the collaborative approach is always best, but
I do too.
we do have an obligation to look at various means of trying to hold the line on some costs, on some savings, and examine this from time to time, the design of the health plan.
Okay, so we'll make a motion to adopt Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21 and 22.
Okay, that has been seconded. So any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7 on the agenda is a public hearing on the Eustace Estate sign application. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bob, how are you?
Bob,
Good
Diane,
evening, all.
how are you?
How are you?
I have with me Diane Vieira,
Diane.
Executive Vice President of Historic New England, and also the Chief Operating Officer.
That's fine.
We have before us tonight a question of whether we should have an illuminated sign at the new entranceway to the Eustace Estate. It is intentionally an understatement type of sign. It has a 7-watt LED light.
That's just a light that shines down on it?
With the light shines down on the sign alone. There's no upglare towards the
It's not
sky.
backlit sign, it's not any of that, it's just,
Correct.
it's
And
like an
it is-
old-fashioned,
It's an old-fashioned down sign.
okay.
It is the equivalent to a 40-watt bulb, incandescent. Okay. It's 7-watt, which I'll tell you is an understatement. It's on Canton Avenue. It's going to be in front of the new entranceway. It's needed because in that side of the street, which was really a country road at that point, there are no lights, street lights, on that side of the street at all. They're all on the other side. When we went before the Board of Appeals, the neighbors were very vocal on the fact that we need to keep people from going up what's called Chestnut Run, which is the private way beyond the, next to the Historic Society building. And this will assist people in locating the facility. It is not an advertisement, it's a locator only.
Will the sign be turned off at some point in time during the night, or was?
Sometime during the night, it will be turned off.
Do we know what time that's going
Yeah,
to be?
we're talking about having it go off on a timer at 10 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So that it won't be lit all night, because we don't want people to go there all hours of the night.
Right, and there are going to be many events going on at the Eustace Estate, as as time goes on. And,
Yeah, there will certainly be some
Right.
events.
Yes.
So there is a need to have wayfaring to get into the proper driveway and everything, so I can appreciate that, understand that.
Also, right now, the entrance is through the archway,
Yes.
and that is no longer going to be the entranceway because the amount of traffic and particularly fire trucks or something like that cannot make it through. And we're afraid that that building, the gatehouse, would be damaged. So we've come up with a new entranceway. This has gone before the Board of Appeals, it has gone before the Conservation Commission, it has been quite well vetted. And I think this sign will just make it complete. The question was raised by someone, what kind of lighting are we going to have on the roadway going up? And the answer is, we're not going to have any. We're going to install some reflectors so that the automobiles can safely proceed. But on the roadway going up to the museum, there will not be any lights at all.
Okay, that's great.
We have John Zegowitz from the sign committee, so I know your committee reviewed this sign application, so. Just your thoughts, John?
It's a very attractive sign. It's historic looking. And it meets the standards of historic New England, and the lighting is very minimal. The sign is 24 inches wide. The light itself is 16, so it's not as wide as the sign, and it's roughly 5/8 by 3/4. It's very narrow.
So very
It's like a light post at the end of somebody's driveway. That's about what the amount of light it's going to throw. It's just going to wash the sign.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it look very attractive.
Okay. Brian, have you had a chance to take a peek at this at all?
Yeah, I looked at the plans, I had a couple of questions, but you could actually ask both of them about the shutting it off at night. Whether there would be events, it sounds like there will be, so I agree there's a need, especially at this time of year.
Okay. All right.
Great.
I have a question for you, Bob and Diane.
Yes.
These are pictures of some of Historic New England's other signs on
Yes.
various properties, so the light, I'm guessing, will be just, these don't look like
It
they're
will
lit, it would just
be,
be on the top of the sign here?
Yes, but we don't have it on that. We have a floodlight going
That shines
up
on
from
these
below,
ones. I see.
which is not as attractive, effective, or desirable as it will be having a light fixture on top of it coming down.
Sure.
Sounds like it has a classic look and
Yes.
and a nice feel, and I commend you on the reflectors on the roadway.
Oh,
I
is
think
that it? I
that's
couldn't make that out.
a nice idea.
That little dashed line.
Excellent, excellent. And I hope if this is approved, we can ask Diane Vieira to give us an update on the Eustace Estate and what Historic New England is doing with it and what the current plans are.
Sure. Yeah, well, this is a public hearing, so we probably should, before we even, if anybody wants to address the board in terms of this sign, I don't know if there is anybody out there that is concerned. Apparently not? No? Okay. So, did Diane want to address?
Do you want me to take a couple of minutes?
Just a couple of minutes, sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Well, I know you have a busy agenda, so I'll be brief, and thank you very much for having us with you tonight. Well, we're very excited, obviously, about the Eustace Estate and about getting ready to share it with the public and with the community of Milton. We initially had targeted opening in June of 2016. Our planning process has taken a little bit longer than anticipated, so we are now targeting early spring of 2017. We're hoping to start our work on the site in March, weather permitting. We hope we don't have the winter we had last year, so we anticipate we'll be able to start in March. But during this time, we've been doing a lot of research on the interior of the property, and it's really amazing what we've learned about how cutting edge the design of that building really was. I mean, fabulous glittering paint finishes, amazing tile that was really cutting edge at the time for design. So we're going to be able to restore all of that and bring it back to its original look, and we're really excited that we'll be able to share it with the community.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
I have a question, Diane. One of the benefits of being the chair last year was I got to go to the Eustis
Yes,
Estate
I
a
hadn't
couple
been
of
there.
times.
Absolutely.
One point when Diane wanted to come down and meet, I said, Anne Marie, let's go up there. We don't want to sit in the Cronin room when we can sit in the Eustis Estate. But I know when we were up there, you were talking about the fact that you were thinking about what era to showcase that property, whether it would be 1878 when it was built, or whether it would be a later time. Have you made a decision on that, and if you can even tell us that?
Yeah, we're looking at early 20th century. It's a time when electricity was introduced into the building. We do know that the original paint, colors and finishes were still there at that time, so it will be able to bring it back to its original look, but also be true to having the electricity in the property. Amazingly, in that building, and I think this speaks to the Eustaces really appreciating what they had, there's only one layer of paint over the original finishes in there. So when we had the paint analysis done, it was a pretty fabulous discovery, so.
It's a magnificent property.
Yeah.
Really, you walk onto that property, you really step back in time.
It's
really
stunning.
something to see, and I'm really looking forward to going back, but incredibly grateful to the Eustace family for choosing Historic New England to be the entity that will take care of it and preserve it.
Thank you. We are grateful to them as well. We're very honored to be doing that.
Great.
Thank you, Diane.
So we do have a motion here.
I'll move that we approve the application of Historic New England to place a lit sign for the Eustace Estate at 1424 Canton Avenue.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Brian, thank you.
Okay, item 8 on the agenda is the approval of a common victuals license for the, which was it? Out in the Yulin Rink. Hey, Bill.
Hi. I think you have the common vic for Behind the Net, the concession group for
Yes.
Yulin Rink.
Yeah, and what can you tell us about, I know a little bit of the history. This was a group that's been doing other rinks?
The only other rink they did was Canton.
Okay, and that's closed down now.
They spent crazy money last year opening their concession stand, revamping the stand in Canton. With their roof collapse in February, they got put out of business. They still don't have they don't have a roof over there, they couldn't open. We did not have somebody to run the concession stand at Yulin, and at someone's suggestion, I think it was David, I reached out to Canton, asked them who they had. They were very forthcoming in saying they wouldn't be open this year. They don't know when they'll be open next year. You know, they really had a good experience with Behind the Net, and they wholeheartedly said, take it. We called them, we asked them, and they have since come in. They've cleaned it. They've got their inspections from the health department to the comments that they've never seen it so clean, so that's good.
Good.
They put in, you know, a new stove, a new refrigerator, different kind of food than what has been there before. So we expect good things. I mean, hockey started primarily last night. I mean, yes, we opened in September for our youth hockey. College started in October, but the crowds don't start until usually after last night. Last night being the first night that Milton High School hockey started. They'll be there for all of our primetime hours. They'll be there for the tournaments and games that get put on by the high school, the college, and certain tournaments through Milton Youth Hockey and certain tournaments run by South Shore Conference. They'll be there for Commonwealth Figure Skating, and they'll be there for Learn to Skate.
Good.
So they'll figure out what those hours are. They can open as much as the rink is open. They don't have a key to get into the building, but they have a key once they're in the building. But the rink is open 7 in the morning, and I guess the first group comes in at like 6:30 on Saturday. we have guys that are there ready to let them in and do their thing.
Great, great.
I think I want to add, as a Milton Youth Hockey parent, you know, I've heard a lot of people who are really enthused about this group coming in. They've done a fantastic job in the past in Canton, and they come with, you know, a good reputation. And I think that it's something that is much needed, you know, and it's great that we were able to, you know, be able to, I guess, in a regionalized approach, talk to another town. We talked about regionalizing,
Sure.
and here we are already ahead of the game here. So, and I think that it's going to provide, you know, a nice little asset, you know, for this year at
I
least.
think they're giving you a different menu. They're giving you fair prices. They're giving you a much wider than it's been before. And I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about them. The people that run it and the product that they put out. So
That's great. I mean, certainly compared to the woeful, I mean, and nobody's fault, but, yeah, we just had, you know, really did not have a concession stand to speak of last year. I know the boosters tried to come in and do a little bit, but.
the boosters tried to do it, and they tried to do it with volunteers, and trying to get volunteers to, you know, I don't have a kid that's going to the rink, but I'm volunteering my time to go up and put in X amount of hours.
And they put a lot of time
Really
in.
difficult.
The boosters, they did a heck of a
Yes.
job, and they went way out of their way.
Oh, sure they did,
You
yes.
know, as, you know, for the benefit of others, which was really
Right.
commendable.
I mean, they've had, the boosters have had the machines in there since September until now. So they've reaped a little bit, not a lot, but they've reaped a little bit.
I think that we're going to see, you know, just in the last week when public skating started, it was an attraction, and I think it's going to help.
Yeah.
I mean, we brought them in at the last minute, trying to, you know, here's what we need. Can you survive on it? And after the weekend, their comment was, well, it was really slow. Well, we knew it would be slow. It's the first year opening. You know, it's, the weekend starts this coming Friday, not last Friday. Last Friday was just, the doors happened to be open. Now we'll really start with more people as hockey gets wound up.
Sure. Okay.
So I'll move that we approve a common victular license for Patricia McClory doing business as Behind the Other Net at Yulin Rink.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all's in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thanks, Bill.
Thank
And
you.
I do have their insurance, it's their insurance binder, so.
Okay, great.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, item 9 on the agenda is the approval of the trust agreement for other post-employment benefits. And I had a couple of comments, just, you know, this is such a long document, and it's all legalese, so as you read it, you keep finding things. One of the, well, I guess just a suggestion in Article 1, item 1.3, which talks about, it's part of the definitions. It says GASB 43, 45, 74, and 75 shall mean government auditing standards 43, 45, 74, and 75, and why don't we just, I mean, where all these other ones, definitions, were cryptic, like, you know, code means the internal, you know, this is just basically saying the same thing all over again. I mean, you know, part of the reason for the definitions is to kind of shorten what's in there. We could easily just say, GASB 45 means GASB 43, 45, 74, 75, and any superseding, you know, so that you can just use GASB 45 throughout the document. It would seem to make more sense.
Does it appear many times in the document?
A few other
Yeah, it
times.
does, it does appear a couple times.
To tell you the truth, Tom, I figured you probably were the one who put that definition in.
No.
That came from the.
And it was added too, so, no, it was already in there.
Okay.
And then, you know, since then, GASB 74 and 75 have come out to change to supersede 43 and 45, but they're not effective yet. So that would be my suggestion there. And then in Article 2, similar to 2.2, where it talks about it is intended that the trust, what's it say? Constitute a so-called qualified OPEB trust in accordance with GASB 43, and it's further qualified as an integral part trust for purposes of Article 115C of the code. First, and I caught this in a few other places, but there are no articles in the internal, there are sections. So it should be section, and there is no section 115C. Doesn't exist.
Okay, then I think, I mean, this was drafted by our Labor Council, so I think then if we've got questions like, or comments like this,
Yeah,
then
I mean,
they probably
those are the
needs to go
only
back
two that
to
I
him.
see.
Probably has to. Yep.
You know, it's probably just housekeeping. I'm guessing what happened there is you have a choice when you're a quasi-government organization, you have your choice of trying to qualify for, non-taxable benefits under Code Section 115 or under Code Section 501c3. I've got a feeling that's where the C came from.
It's probably just a typo, yeah.
Yeah, it
could be.
I agree.
Probably
So,
is.
and there've been so many authors and people commenting on this that it probably just, somewhere along the line, a typo
Yeah.
found its way
So-
into that.
Right, so we probably should, just send it back and just get one more. I've got a couple of others, but, I think the only one I have of substance is, and you've raised this one too, Katie, is under the powers. I mean, there are some broad powers here, and I don't feel too uncomfortable with them, but, one of the powers in here is that the trustees have the power to basically separate the retired employees, because all they can deal with is retired employees. That's all this trust deals with. It doesn't deal with active employees at all. But there is the power to basically take the retired employees away and buy their own insurance contracts outside the town.